Leslie Lar's downfall is just that eyebrow twitch that she can't help doing. Could you imagine if Hope was like, let's add that to the PowerPoint? Excuse
what
me?
year is it?
How old am I? This is how a podcast breaks up.
This is the last episode of Supergirl Radio. You want a Kryptonian? You've got one.
Is it a movie about saving Argo? The answer to that one is no. It's called Witch for a Summer! Exclamation point. Where does she want to go? Ask her. Talk to her. Really commune with flat Supergirl.
Did we set the bar too high or too low?
I think we set the bar real medium.
You're doing an intensely adequate podcast.
Good.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Noyce, and you're listening to Supergirl Radio.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira.
I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor Boardroom or Ballroom, because of her outfit.
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Is Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source, and I kind of blanked on the document. Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the CW Supergirl TV series and the character of Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we have gathered live and wired on the Supergirl Radio Facebook page, the Legends of Tomorrow podcast Facebook page, and we're also still going to go to the DCTV After Dark Facebook page, even though Sarah is unable to join us for this round of the tournament. We're still going to go to that Facebook page as well. Just because you got part one, you might as well get part two. And we're also live on the DCTV Podcast, a YouTube channel with other members of the Morgan Glennon Podcast Universe. Actually, all of, not even just the Morgan Glennon Podcast Universe, all the legendary ladies. So basically, I'm just a guest on the Legends of Tomorrow podcast.
This is a much more organized version of our podcast.
We could never be this organized.
No, there's a full document involved. It's
yeah, so
great.
hopefully we don't get lost in all of the organization. But we are all gathered together for another Supergirl Radio game night to pit Arrowverse villains against each other. We did the heroes bracket last week. We're going to do the villains bracket this week. We're going to put them in a tournament to go head-to-head, villain versus villain, which will end up getting us an Arrowverse villain that we can pit against Martian Manhunter, who won the heroes bracket. So we eventually hope to achieve by the end of this live stream and this podcast episode to have picked a winner of the entire March Madness tournament. I think we have a little more streamlined way of doing this, so hopefully it'll go a little faster this time around. So before we begin the tournament, I guess we need to reintroduce ourselves to the two teams, which involve podcasters from Supergirl Radio and DC's Legends of Tomorrow podcast. So I guess first up, we have Team Mermaid. So
I can't get over that.
Love the sound effects.
So Team Mermaid is Morgan and Kat. So you all will be taking mostly the Supergirl character sides of the villain tournament. And for the Arrowverse villain side, we've got Team Werewolf.
Our sound effect is so cool.
So that is going to be Team Werewolf is Amy, and I'm stepping in for Sarah, who could not join us again tonight. So we'll hopefully bring. I don't plan on howling, but you never know what's going to happen with Team Werewolf. But okay, so now that we've gotten to know our two teams, basically what's going to happen, let's go over the rules just to refresh everyone's minds and thinking caps as we go through this. So the rules are as follows. So our two teams will be making their arguments for why their champions in each round should win a battle of villain versus villain. And after they've made their cases, they're going to make some arguments. The vote will then go to the live chat to pick a winner. And we'll let you know when you can do that. The live chat, we do encourage you to pick the winner based on which team or competitor made the best case with their arguments. Not necessarily like what your favorite character is, like who made the best, most compelling case with their argument. The majority will win, and I will have the final call on declaring the winner of each round. We did determine last week if we did have a tie in the chat, we would flip a coin or maybe do a random generator online, something like that, to break the tie if we had to. If we should run into a mermaid versus mermaid or werewolf versus werewolf competition, teammates will be asked to debate each other. And I'll assign characters for that. Our competitors will also be allowed to use internet wikis if they need to do so, or they can just go based off their feelings and what they think the character might be like or do. To make this tournament more difficult, we are removing Supergirl, Superman, and Mon-El from the list of options, as they would just destroy all other competition. And as we get into the villains bracket, I'll explain some of the characters that I removed just with executive decision from that bracket just because of the same issue. So in this episode, our goal is to determine the winner of the villains bracket, and then we will take that villain into the championship round against Martian Manhunter, who won the heroes bracket. So is everybody clear? Everybody knows the rules. We all know how this goes?
Yes.
Okay. So. All right, cool. Well, let me pull up a few things here before we get started, because I got a lot of irons in the fire with StreamYard. Okay, so I guess what I should do is go ahead and share the bracket so everybody can see who we are playing with and what is happening and what's going to go down. All right, so this is the bracket. Let me pull it up. So we've got 16 teams of villains. We've got the Supergirl villains going up against the Arrowverse villains. So the first round is going to be Hat versus Grodd. So that is going to be our first battle for this live stream. And so, yeah, I guess I should explain, though, because I did mention before we get into Hat versus Grodd, I think it was, the live chat viewers from last week, I just wanted to make a note of this, gave us some suggestions about characters, and we used most of them. And I entered them into the bracket, but I decided to throw out Rain and Vita because, like Supergirl and Superman, they would overpower most of the competition. So if you heard us talking about Rain and Vita last week, I did remove them because it would just be unfair to all of the other villains. All right, so first up, Hat versus Grodd. And I think we're going to pass this to Team Mermaid first, if that's okay. And you all can make that argumentation first.
Oh my gosh, you have a timer and everything.
Oh yeah, you weren't here for the timer.
We needed the timer.
Yes. we determined that a timer was probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
All right, so Team Mermaid, you have a minute on the clock to argue for why Hat of the Elite would defeat Grodd in a fight. And go.
I don't know who he is.
I think it's important to know that he's got a hat. It's in his name. So that's important. Like, you see his
I saw his black hat.
You're like, what's his name? There it is. Hat. He's got that magical hat. And that magical
from another
hat,
dimension, right?
He has a fifth dimensional hat. So you want to go somewhere? Guess what? Hat's got you. So Hat is like kind of the ultimate best friend that can take you on vacations, but also that fifth dimensional energy again. So like, what's Grodd gonna do? Hat's just gonna teleport himself out of there. He's just gonna open up his hat, jump on in, and he's out. He's out of there.
I think Gorilla Grodd, like he's a dude who's a gorilla, and he can't wear a hat. It won't look good on him.
It's not gonna look. It's too small.
And hat rhymes with cat. So if you like me,
I think he'll just point to his hat and be like, "Can you wear this?" Boom.
Okay, all right. That is the argument for Hat over Gorilla Grodd. So that is going to do it for Team Mermaid. Team Werewolf, Amy, I don't know if you want to start with this one or I can begin. So I guess we'll just let me go ahead and give us a minute on the clock. Amy, did you want to begin?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. A minute on the clock and go.
Look, the guy has a hat. Big deal. Gorilla Grodd crossed multiple shows and nearly kidnapped Obama. Think about that. He nearly brought about a potential destruction of the late 2010s. This could have been very bad. And on top of everything, like, he literally is super strong. He's, he can't really camouflage very well, but that's okay. King Kong didn't camouflage either. And yeah, the hat is cool, but who says Gorilla Grodd can't steal the hat? This whole argument that he can't wear the hat, completely false. Gorillas have opposable thumbs. He can wear the hat.
Yeah, and Grodd has telepathy powers, so he could just force Hat to give him the hat, and he would just hand over the hat, and then the hat no longer has the magical capabilities of like the fifth dimension or whatever it is. So I think Gorilla Grodd could just end it with the telepathy powers.
Yeah, plus he got multiple returns on multiple episodes. Like, he's more than just a one-shot villain.
All right, that is going to do it.
Will he look good in the hat?
That is an important point. I think Kat and I think what we're bringing up is that the hat is not gonna fit his features. You know, he's like not a hat guy.
Exactly.
All right, live chat. Let's put your votes in the live chat now so that we can see who won this battle. So if you liked Team Mermaid's argument for Hat, put Hat in the live chat. If you like Team Werewolf's argument, put Grodd in the chat, and we'll count them up and see who won.
I'm very fond of Nicole's concept that opposable thumbs is a real anatomical advantage. It is. It is.
Miss Fiction Fanatic says, now I want to see a giant gorilla wearing a tiny magic hat.
It can't happen.
Don't we all?
Can't wear
but
it.
It's not. Can he pull it off? No.
A lot of people are saying Grodd, but I don't believe them. I don't believe in this state.
I think that they should be following CV Cubes here, who voted Hat with like their whole heart.
Even with a lowercase.
I thought you said
hat.
DBQ, like document-based question from back in the olden AP days, and I was like, wait, we're supposed to be citing our sources?
Yes,
What?
Amy.
We are. And look, Tara,
Dude, I was so good at those, man. What?
I feel like the chat is turning. I feel like
why is this
maybe
chat
Hat
turning?
is having
having
his moment.
His name rhymes with one of the members of Team Mermaid. That's not a valid reason.
I said it. It's true. It is valid. He seems like a cool guy.
He seems great.
Where's a hat?
Loving that hat. He's pulling off the hat.
I literally work with gorillas.
Have you seen any of them wear hats?
Cardboard. Actually, fun fact. They're hilarious, and they love to cause havoc.
This is not a comedic battle. This is a battle.
We give them cardboard boxes, and they throw them around. And I have literally seen one of our 3-year-olds walking around with a cardboard box on him, like a tent over his head. It was hilarious.
All right,
I am to see his next show.
All right, I'm calling it on this battle. It looks like Grodd is taking home that round. So the next one is Livewire versus The Thinker. Let me pull. I may just have to leave the clock up because I'm having to pull it up again, which is not cool. So I'll probably just leave the clock up. All right. So just to recap, Livewire versus The Thinker. Team Mermaid, you have first stab at it. So a minute on the clock and go.
The Thinker was one of the worst Flash villains ever. It might have destroyed the show.
Yes, straight out. The Thinker's a bad villain. Do you want to go back to that season of the Flash? No. But do you know what you do want to go back to? You want to go back to the season of Supergirl that Livewire premiered in? Yes, you do. It was the first one. Hair. It was good. They had a budget. She had cool hair.
Electricity.
She was also a radio personality, kind of like podcasters, almost like we're powerful.
The Thinker could not even have a podcast. He was so unlikable.
No one's subscribing to his podcast, but I bet a bunch were subscribing to Leslie's. She also had lightning powers. I feel like that's really important to mention.
Electrocute that stupid hat off of the Thinker's head.
Exactly. They're getting a lot of people on their team that can't pull off hats, I think, is what we're getting.
But Livewire can pull off a hat.
All right, that is the argument from Team Mermaid. Team Werewolf, we have a minute to argue in favor of the Thinker. Amy, do you need me to try to attempt this first, or would you?
Yeah, you start. All
right, okay, so we'll see how this goes. Probably not very well, but a minute on the clock and go. All right, so the Thinker may not wear a hat, but I think he could because he's got such a giant brain. He's very, very smart, has super intelligence, has a technopathy, which I'm not really sure what it is just looking off the wiki, but I'm sure it's a very important power.
Well, he does technically have a hat, which allows him to literally switch consciousnesses with anyone. Which means he can literally, he can do dimensional travel and probability manipulation. Look, apparently this guy's really good at math, okay? When it comes down to it, math is kind of better than fashion. I do have to go with that.
And I think he could also transfer powers into, another body or something like that. So maybe he just takes Livewire's abilities and put it into somebody else's body and, it's not useful anymore. I don't know.
He could just, that's the reality. He could steal Livewire's powers. Boom, done. Win.
All right. That's the minute. We didn't need any more. Okay. All right. So live chat. What do you say? Do you think Team Mermaid made the better argument with Livewire, or did you like the argument for the Thinker from The Flash? So either put Livewire or the Thinker in the chat.
Dear chat.
We all know who's going to win.
We know it's going to be Livewire.
She can wear a hat. I heard Amy say that math was more important than hats, and I disagree.
and I fundamentally disagree.
I disagree too.
Is it winter and you're going to wear a mask to keep warm?
No. Do you remember how to solve an geometry proof? No.
We don't.
Do you know what that is?
Theorem, the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, no one knows how to do that.
You know what's funny?
But you know how to wear a hat.
That is true. Realistically, though, can you guys think about any math that you learned that you use?
Just percentage, because you want to pay bills and stuff.
Yeah, I want to do tips and stuff.
Yeah, other than that, not really.
All right, so it looks like I think Livewire is sweeping this chat, so I'm going to give it to...
I'm okay with that. Thinker, I think season 4 was the season that I kind of dropped off the Flash, despite that I was on the podcast.
That was my argument.
Season. Yeah, it was a very good argument.
I definitely watched that season, but I don't remember much about the Thinker.
I remember hating that season. I remember trying to reorganize my comics as I caught up with that season. I don't want to be watching this.
All right, so the next matchup is Indigo versus Damien Dark. So we're talking great finger acting Indigo, Laura Vandervoort versus Damien Dark. So Team Mermaid has the first shot at it with a minute on the clock. So Team Mermaid, and go.
She's not purple. She's not blue.
First off,
she's Indigo.
She's Indigo, okay? So once again, we have a case of our villains, their names tell you about what they are. Fashion, again, she's pulling it all the stops out. The great hand acting. I don't think that you can really, can you put a price on great hand acting?
I heard also, she's a brainiac, so, that's pretty powerful.
She's got Kaluan physiology, so she can, plug into the internet and and take over
the internet is
electronics.
all power. If you can control the internet, what a greater power is
She's
there?
gonna change the discourse on Twitter. Like, can you guys do that? No. She's
Only
also
Will
got
Smith
super
can do
strength. She battled Supergirl, a Kryptonian. Okay, so she's gonna be able to take this easy.
And she's Indigo, guys. Just remember
Indigo.
She's fashion.
Okay, that is time's up for Team Mermaid with the argument for Indigo. So Team Werewolf, we have a minute on the clock to argue in favor of Damien Dark. So Amy, I think I can get this one started, and then you can just hop in whenever. Okay, 1 minute on the clock and go. Damien Dark, he's got like magical powers. He can do a lot of magical things that I never fully understood, but he has some sort of magical powers. Also, as a villain, he is the worst of the worst in the Arrowverse. If he had to go up another villain, he could take them out, because you know what Damien Dark did? He murdered the best character on Arrow, and that was the worst mistake of that show ever. And I think if you can kill the best character on Arrow, I think you're a pretty good villain.
Yeah, that's the reality, is that this is actually one of the characters who brings out real stakes. Like, some of these other characters, yeah, they got colors in their names, but so what? Damien Dark literally nearly destroyed multiple characters and universes so that a team had to turn into a giant blue stuffed animal to defeat him. If that's the lengths you have to go to defeat Damien Dark, trust me, he can take down almost anyone.
That's the argument from a Team Werewolf. So live chat, put in, let's see who we were going. Like, I'm already forgetting the matchups. Put Indigo or Damien Dark. You can just put Damien or Dark if you don't want to spell out the whole thing. Dark is actually
you can just put Damien. Please do just Damien.
Yeah, Dark is actually really hard to spell. I always have to look that up before I spell. Yeah. I'm like, does the R go before the H or after the H? I'm not really sure.
And remember that Indigo had all that hand acting.
I'm seeing a lot of the fashion come through right now.
So much fashion.
Damien Dark had wings when he turned into mollusk.
That's not fashion.
Molasses.
Molluskana. And then he came back and he successfully got Nora to leave. Like, if that's not villainous, I don't know what is.
All right,
Damien because magic. I like that.
Let's see. Right now, it looks like we've got 3 for Indigo.
Let's see. We have 4 votes for Indigo.
Is it
How
4
many
now?
for
Okay.
Damien.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, are we tied?
Oh no!
Wait, hold on. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to get
Now
your
is
vote
the time.
in.
Remember
For the character
that her name is the color that she is, and that's important.
That is very important.
Wait, hold on. Damien Dark's name is also valid. He is dark.
Yeah, but, like, he's not Indigo.
No, he's Indigo.
He's
is
not
also
Indigo.
A darker version
That's
of the color scheme.
I did
Although
not
I don't
hear
think you
a
can
cooler
go and
color.
buy a colored pencil called dark.
And especially
All right.
with H.
Are we?
I think we're. Let's see. Yeah, I think we are split 4 to 4.
Excuse me. Robin Hood says he's abstaining because they don't know Indigo. That's fine. You could still vote for Damien Dark just because you don't know the other character.
No, you can't. You have to do that argument out.
Robin Hood, you're supposed to be swayed by the argument, and I think that you like the color indigo, don't you? Do you like hand acting?
Yeah, that's what I do.
So now we're just trying to
fashion?
make the argument just to Robin Hood. 3,000 here, just to give it.
Look, Robin Hood. Look. Does Indigo know how to steal from the rich and give to the poor? No, but Damien Dark does.
Does he? Does he? He's not giving to the poor. You know, Indigo might.
Gave Nora to the poor.
Indigo could make those bank transfers. She's the internet.
Shameless political swaying. Absolutely. We are.
All right. If we don't have anybody to vote, what we can do is I think I found an online coin flip. So we could just do a coin flip here via the internet. So we'll see what happens.
Wait, hold on. Robin Hood is still in a swing state. Give them a second. Robin Hood, you have 10 seconds or we got to flip a coin here. I know there's also a delay.
Yeah, I guess, Kat, I think since you flipped it last time. I guess, Morgan, I had you call the heads versus tails. Yeah. So I guess I'll just leave it for Morgan to decide heads versus tails, and I'll just flip it online. So hopefully this will work, and we'll get something that we can all see. All right, so heads or tails, Morgan?
I'm going to try tails this time.
All right, let me see. Okay. Oh, it's tails.
Yes.
All right.
Indigo is the winner.
Won by a coin flip.
I'm upset that Hat's not going to be in the next round because I just want to keep talking about Hat.
Could you imagine all the different people Hat could go up against who aren't going to look
Lex
great in a
Luthor.
hat?
He's not going to be in this.
In a hat.
Supergirl, I've never seen her wear a hat.
Does she even have one? I don't know.
Did she wear a hat in the... Did she wear a hat in the duet episode?
She might have.
In like the
40s?
I don't remember her wearing a hat. I think Martian Manhunter did wear a hat. So that would have been an interesting.
That would have been interesting. Now that's
verse match.
All right. So since Team Mermaid won that battle, so the next one is Silver Banshee versus Malcolm Merlin. All right.
You guys keep getting the colors.
Oh my God, fashion again. Yes. This character I do know. I remember when she came out in comics, but anyways.
All right, so Team Mermaid, you have a minute on the clock to argue for Silver Banshee. I can't wait. Okay, all right, 1 minute on the clock and go.
She's silver, she screams.
She's got both of those big things. Once again, her hair is a light, like a silver color. Her name is Silver Banshee.
She was a brat, I remember. She was not like, if you're going to be trapped in a room with her, there's nothing good that comes out of it. A, she's annoying. And then B, she's going to scream at you. Like, how can you even stay in a room with her?
You're just going to give up. You're going to give up once you hear that scream, that supersonic, super powered scream. She's also has some like strength powers. So there's that. Yeah. She was pretty good at combat, I guess. But I think what you want to focus on is how annoying she was and how annoying that would be in combination with that scream. Once again, though, Silver Banshee, fashion, really pulling off that hair.
A fashion icon. If you were going to dress up as Silver Banshee for Halloween, you win the costume contest. That's for sure.
Boom,
okay,
done.
That is the argument for Silver Banshee.
I'm ready for this one.
All right, so it sounds like Amy wants to go first. So Team Werewolf is going to argue for Malcolm Merlin. We have 1 minute on the clock and go.
Oh, I'm sorry. She can scream. She's a fashion icon. Hold on just a second. Mr. Malcolm Merlin can wear a suit like Andrew Garfield at the Oscars. And before What's-Her-Face could even scream, I will remind you he's a member of the League of Assassins. He gonna get an arrow right where he needs to. You won't even know he's there. Also, I will remind you, he helped take one character that we were all just kind of about, Miss Thea Queen, and turn her into a badass. And in my opinion, that makes one of the strongest, best characters who's definitely gonna take the silver chick down.
Yeah, Silver Banshee is annoying, but I don't think that's a strength. I think that is a downside, and I think Malcolm Merlin sucks up all the air in a scene, so he would just take over Silver Banshee. She wouldn't even have time in order to be annoying and use her scream, because Malcolm Merlin would just take over the scene.
Yeah.
All right, so that is a minute on the clock for Team Werewolf. So live chat, who made the better argument? Is Silver Banshee going to take this one, or is Malcolm Merlin going to take this one? So put Banshee or Merlin in there, Merlin with a Y, if you want to get it correct.
You know, in all seriousness, like I remember, like Malcolm Merlin takes you back to the old days of the Arrowverse, before we had Legends, before we had Supergirl. Like it's kind of weird to think back to the Malcolm Merlin days and the Thea days and the Tommy Merlin days.
Tommy Merlin.
Gosh, that was so long ago.
I can't believe there's not one person who
Come
voted for Silver Banshee.
Remember her makeup? Remember how dramatic it was?
Excuse me.
It really is annoying.
Excuse me. I have seen the suits that Malcolm Merlin wears. Those are tailored. He rich.
Does he have a skeleton on his face?
And she'd be like, you know what? That's cool. You can win.
Can't believe Malcolm's winning. I love Malcolm though. So like if I wasn't on Silver Banshee's team, I probably would vote for Malcolm too, but
Oh yeah. That's like me earlier. Am I gonna vote for the Thinker? No.
All right, I think Merlin is taking this one. So Team Werewolf wins that one. All right, so we are going to go to the other side of the bracket, and I because I have to leave the tech aspects of this is very complicated for this live stream, so I have to leave the countdown up. So we'll get to the PowerPoint to show the bracket here in a little bit. But the next showdown is going to be Rama Khan versus Tobias Whale. So Team Mermaid, you have a minute on the clock to give your best argument for Rama Khan. So a minute on the clock and go.
I don't know who this guy is.
First off, my boy Rama Khan. Can I just tell you, he's been here since the beginning. He's been here since
Look at that
way
garb.
back. He's always coming correctly
dressed
to impress. He can throw just like a giant pile of dirt at you. How's your backyard? Is it not looking great? Ramakan will fix that, and he'll just like bury you under a giant pile of dirt.
He also looks just very serious. He's a serious man, ready for business.
He is not playing around. He is a middle manager in Leviathan. He's not the top. We'll never know who the top is.
Look at that dress. Look at the clothes.
Look at him. Look at him. He's majestic. He has playing
He's
cards.
not dressed as middle management. He's dressed like a CEO.
He is dressed to impress. He gets up every morning and he goes, "This is the day I get promoted." He says, he looks himself in the eyes and he's like, "Rama, it's your time."
I don't even remember who he's fighting, but I don't think we even need to know.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He won.
Rama, it's your time. I'm putting on a t-shirt. All right, so the timer is up. All right, so Team Werewolf, we now have a minute to argue for Tobias Whale. Amy, if you want me to, I can start it and then we can just go. So we have a minute on the clock and go. I was not a very faithful viewer of Black Lightning, so I'm just going to have to wing it here. But according to what I understand about Tobias Whale, one thing that I think stands out as a way to defeat Ramakan is that he has a harpoon gun. So he can use a harpoon gun to take down Ramakan, because Ramakan really, his only thing is that he throws dirt, really. And that's not something that I think really comes in very handy unless you're gardening or something like that. So I think the harpoon gun is going to get that fight finished pretty quickly. Yeah. Also, Tobias Whale is also an expert in hand-to-hand combat, so he could try to take out Ramakan if he wanted to. Also has longevity and immense strength, so yeah. I think he can take Ramakan.
Plus, yeah, your guy can throw dirt. Tobias Whale owns the dirt in this town. He got to get it from him first.
That's true. All right, so good argument. I personally thought that was a good argument, but
I think it's great.
I'm gonna let the live chat decide. So
I have a little post-it note that literally says Tobias Whale owns your dirt.
All right, so live chat, who do you think deserves that W? Is it Ramakan or is it Tobias Whale?
We missed our opportunity. Tiana says, "Isn't Ramakan a god?"
What?
Oh, kind of. Yeah.
He's he's immortal.
He's immortal.
Why didn't we say that?
He's been back. I did say he's been around since way back, but I don't know that really covered it.
It seems like people are still voting for Rama because of the outfit.
Ramakan is much beloved, I feel like.
Yeah.
Can I tell
Don't
a story?
you guys want to go to Ramakan's Rama Winery?
You can tell a story, Amy. What's up?
I once, without knowing it, had waffles with
we know this story.
Tobias Whale. The Supergirl people may not know this story. It was at Comic-Con.
They might not.
It was at like an Amazon Prime party, and I literally just saw a group of people who I'd met, and I'm like, hey, we're all walking back to the same hotel. I would like just company, so I'm not walking around downtown San Diego on my own. And they're like, sure, come with us. Turns out it's half the writing staff and half the actors from Black Lightning, which I don't watch, so I have no idea. And we get to IHOP, and everybody's like, let's get some breakfast. I'm like, it's 2 a.m. Waffles sound great. And I ended up sitting next to him and having a great time and having waffles with Crondon and half the writers. And they were really cool. And I no idea. Absolutely no idea until the next morning when I was like, wait, what? Like, Dia was like, you did realize you left with, like, all the Black Lightning people. And I was like, nope, had no idea whatsoever.
Well, let me tell you, even with that story, Amy, Ramakant's still winning.
Boo!
We should have had waffles with him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to call it on that one. So I think Ramakant won that battle. So he is going to go to the next round. So the next one is Selena versus Deathstroke. And just to clarify, Selena is the Selena from the Supergirl TV series and not Supergirl the movie, although that's a whole different argument in and of itself. But we're talking Selena from the Supergirl TV series and Deathstroke. So Team Mermaid, you have a minute on the clock to argue for Selena, and go.
She's from Argo, question mark?
She's from Argo, question mark, for sure. For sure.
Well, that means she has Supergirl's powers, doesn't she?
Oh, crap, I forgot. Oh, I meant to take her out.
Here we
are.
No, you didn't take her out.
Look at
so
that.
So Selena has Supergirl's powers. We're done.
Got Kryptonian
she has a nice
powers.
haircut.
She's a Kryptonian witch. I think she kind of tells Rain what to do. She kind of can control Rain. So she's a thinker. She can think of plans and things. But also, I think the most important thing is she's a Kryptonian, and so she's got super speed, super strength, super hearing, and heat vision. So it's gonna be a little hard to beat my girl Selena.
Yeah, there's nothing much else to say. She has a cool name.
Magic.
All right, so that is the end of that, and I goofed it up. I thought I had gotten all the Kryptonian characters out there, but
that's okay.
We'll give you this one, I guess. For
maybe you can
one.
turn it around with the power of your argument.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Team Werewolf, we have a minute on the clock to argue on behalf of Deathstroke. So, 1 minute on the clock starts now.
Okay, your first argument is she's Argo, question mark. I'm sorry, you need a question mark to figure out who she is? Everybody knows who Deathstroke is. Deathstroke walks in the building, and everybody's like, well, we're in trouble. May I remind you that he successfully broke into Oliver Queen's home, and he is the reason that we went from Sarah Lance as this girl on a boat to Sarah Lance, badass Sarah Lance. If he can make Sarah Lance into what she is today, that villain is not to be messed with.
And
also
yeah,
swords.
and yeah, I mean, Selena does have Kryptonian powers if she came to Earth. But Deathstroke, let's not forget, he had the Mirakuru powers way back in the day. So he was kind of, crazy and super powerful too. Yeah, roided out. And he has an awesome suit. He's got swords. He's an assassin. I think even without Selena's powers, I think he could take her.
Ooh. I think you guys are going to lose.
Ooh,
all
Rachel has the best question in the chat.
What's the question?
Who's better, Slade from Teen Titans or Deathstroke from Arrow?
Slade from Teen Titans.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
I haven't watched that, so I don't know.
Oh man, well that's something we should do for Legends Tomorrow one day.
It's good.
I don't wonder if it aged well because I haven't seen it in a very long time.
I literally watched a while ago.
You also were a super fan of the show.
I was. That was the first ever fan fiction I ever started writing was Teen Titans.
Nice. All right, live chat. Please put your vote in the chat. Are you going to go with Selena or are you going to pick Deathstroke for this one? Who are you going to choose?
He was known as Slade because then we'd have Selena versus Slade.
Cool. We're like not voting for the Kryptonian.
I mean, come on, you guys. Magic. She has magic.
Mirakuru. That's a miracle.
Oh, okay. We got some more here. We got some Selenas here.
It's just steroids, Amy.
How many? It's just steroids.
It is.
It's basically invulnerable. What? How is this happening?
Yeah, Selena's
turning it back around.
Oh,
no.
All right, so I'm going to call it. There's a lot of Selena there in the chat, so I'm going to say that Selena beat Deathstroke here. We should probably have clarified where that fight was going to be taking place.
That should have been for another round.
Okay, so the next fight we're going to have is Psy from Supergirl versus Vandal.
Who are these
Savage.
People? I missed one season of Supergirl, and this is what happens.
All right, so a minute on the clock for Team Mermaid to argue for Psy, and go.
Her name's Gail.
So that's important to know. Her name is Gail. She's a telepath.
She's a bank robber.
She's a bank robber, so she's got a little bit of that Bonnie and Clyde energy. She can do fear projection. She can project your fears at you.
She's pretty. She's so pretty.
She is so pretty. Have you seen Jane the Virgin? She's great in that. Oh, everyone loves her in that.
Oh, is she is she Petra in Jane the Virgin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about Petra then.
It's Petra
is
from Jane the
bisexual.
Virgin. She's amazing.
She's so great in Jane the Virgin.
She knows how to run a hotel like anybody's business. You
So
don't think that those are like cross-functional skills she can bring to like the telekinesis? They
Sai
are.
and Petra is the same person, so just know that. If you like Petra, you like Sai. She literally, they're like, we love Jane the Virgin so much, we got to put you on Supergirl. Like, that's how great she is as a person. And she robs banks.
Fear powers.
Okay, time up for Team Mermaid. Team Werewolf, we have a minute on the clock to argue for Vandal Savage. Amy, I'm going to let you take this one first because I think you're probably a little more familiar. So a minute on the clock for Vandal Savage, and go.
Okay, yeah, so maybe Vandal Savage wasn't the best villain that we've ever seen on Legends of Tomorrow, but let's talk about actual stats here. He is immortal. He has regenerative powers. He literally lived since the ancient Egypt age. He also has this absolute drive to accomplish whatever he wants, which is a little creepy because, yeah, so he's going after Hawkgirl. Whatever. But he has magic. He can time travel. And I will remind you, he is exceptional at board games, even in hell. He is an excellent board gamer. I feel like he's really good at, what's that one game where you have the stack of the things and you have to knock them over?
Oh, Jenga?
Yeah, he's really good at Jenga. He's great at Jenga. And I'll tell you what, that is a skill.
Yeah, I think what Sai has up on Vandal Savage is the whole psychic ability, but Vandal Savage has enhanced senses. So I don't think that Sai's ability to disorient you would even come into play. So I think Vandal Savage could take her on this one.
Absolutely.
But was Vandal Savage in Jane the Virgin?
I was just going to ask that, Kat.
Team Mermaid.
All right. So live chat, is it Sai or Vandal?
Team Werewolf fights with what we've got.
Yeah, us too.
We don't make things up.
We're not making anything up. She was in Jane the Virgin and she played Petra.
It was technically true, but it had nothing to do with the character. Okay.
Oh, I definitely did. I can't believe people are voting for Vandal. Like,
if Vandal Savage wins, I will be so happy.
I'm calling homophobia. I'm calling biphobia. Like,
wait,
I don't
Vandal
know.
Savage has lower crossover potential. Wait a second, I had Damien Dark earlier in crossover potential.
Sigh.
It's very fun the way that CB Cube spelled it.
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Another Sai.
And another
Sai.
Yeah.
I will say PSI seems like a detective agency. Like, just looking at that.
Does, right?
Yeah, when you capitalize it, that's what it looks like. All right, so I'm calling it.
Veronica Mars spinoff.
That's okay.
Sai won that round. So
I will say, now that it's done, I'm shocked. I'm pretty shocked with that one.
She has those mental powers. She can get in there.
Because once I mentioned the biphobia, people were like, I'm not biphobic.
Oh my God, we gotta vote for Sai.
The arguments end when the
talking about Petra from Jane the
Virgin. The argument ends when the clock hits 0. So keep that in mind, live chat. You're not allowed to take into consideration what is said after the countdown.
And our trash talking is only for funsies.
Nah.
All right,
it's all for the chat.
So
I object.
So the next round is going to be a juicy one. It's Hope
man.
versus Evil Gideon. So this is a battle of the robots. So Team Mermaid, you have a minute on the clock to argue for Hope, the AI, and go.
She loves
Hope
Lena.
loves Lena. First off, it was Hope was created by Lena, who is brilliant.
You love
and
Lena? Then you love Hope.
do
You love her
Lena?
daughter? You love her daughter, Hope.
you love her. Hope just wants to help out her best friend, and sure, that might involve killing Supergirl. But you know what? Don't
If she
you
can
want to
kill
ride or
Supergirl,
die
she's
best
strong.
friend like that? Don't you want? Sure, she also was helping to mind control the world, which just seems pretty powerful to me, honestly. If I'm thinking about it, sure, she's maybe like a glorified fancy Alexa, but she's getting things done. She's connecting to the system. She's taking down satellites. She's Hope. Also, she's briefly in the body of Miss Tessmacher, so she's actually also a human being at some points. And Miss Tessmacher has shot people before, so she's dangerous.
I think she's the strongest Supergirl villain we've ever seen in our lives.
I agree.
And never will see.
Okay.
Wait, I have to know, what's the Hope voice that's being requested in the chat right now?
It's my robot voice.
Did she actually have a robot voice?
It was slightly robot-y. I maybe made it more robot-y. It was like, Lena, let's kill Supergirl.
I love
which
it.
is not how she really talked, but it's how she should have talked.
All right, Team Werewolf. We have a minute on the clock to argue for Evil Gideon. So, Amy, I'm going to let you take this one first.
Before you start, I didn't know how pretty she was. I just looked her up. So just letting
Think
you guys
about
know.
that. Keep that in mind.
Okay, the argument is over. Okay.
Oh no, that's not an
Supergirl.
argument. Just a comment. Just a comment.
Okay, all right. A minute on the clock for Evil Gideon, and go.
All right, here's the thing. Evil Gideon can erase Hope from existence. She has access to the time sphere. She has access to the Wave Rider. And you know what? She may have a program that says she has to do what's right for history. But if Hope is going to ruin history, Evil Gideon will ruin Hope. And she might do that by ruining Lena Luthor. And I will tell you what, if that's not villainous, I don't know what is. Plus, she literally practically she did shoot Gary out the side of the Wave Rider. She almost killed Spooner, and only because of a really odd, albeit weirdly scripted loophole, did she manage to not win. Of all the villains we've ever had, Evil Gideon was the only one that ever posed a real threat to the Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and Hope the AI is only there if Lena's evil. She's not evil anymore, and so you don't have evil Hope. So, all right, so minute on the clock is over. So live chat. Let us know if it's Hope the AI or Evil Gideon for you.
Hope is like, vote for me.
And she's a
Really
pretty
playing to the
girl.
crowd now. Oh,
Evil
no.
Gideon. I don't think Evil Gideon we never even saw Evil Gideon. She wasn't even a person. So
Your argument
There you
is
go.
invalid. Evil Gideon is going to be the most vicious villain of all time, and, if successful, prevent Hope from ever coming back into existence.
that was a very good Gideon.
Those
That was a
are
good Gideon.
robot voices
really want
against
Evil
each other.
Gideon. I really want Amy's Evil Gideon voice to talk to Morgan's Hope voice.
I'm down.
That should have been the argument.
Just a whole episode of that, and people are like, I'm unsubscribing.
Like, I'm done. Oh my
Star
god.
battle robot voices go.
Amazing.
Like a rap battle, but it's just we got so many. I think Hope's in the lead now.
What? No.
Yeah.
Oh, it's turning
Hope's in the
around for
lead.
Hope.
So I think there's
Hope.
4 for Evil Gideon. Then we have 1, 2. Does Hope played by Morgan? Does that count?
I feel like it does.
I mean,
Claudia,
I
doesn't
think
it?
so.
Doesn't
Hope
it?
and Morgan are the same person.
I mean, Morgan did elevate that character when we were podcasting.
Oh.
So I guess I'll count it.
Evil
So
Gideon
1, 2,
got another vote
3,
there.
4, 5 for Hope. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh.
Ah.
I think it's gonna be Evil Gideon. Some last minute
Which,
choices there.
I
How
will
dare
say,
you
like,
guys.
I think Evil Gideon, once Amy said like, oh, Hope could be erased from the timeline, I'm like, yeah.
That was a hard argument.
I would have voted for Evil Gideon too.
To be fair, now that it's over, Crisis erased her from the timeline, so Gideon didn't even need to get to it.
There you go. So Hope's doesn't even exist.
She exists in my heart, basically, and that's it.
All right.
She's no Petra.
She lives in you.
No Petra. She lives on in me. That's true.
I still can't believe can't believe Psy won because half the argument was let's talk about Jade the Virgin.
It's a great show.
All right, I'm going to update everybody about the bracket, which will require me to pull up a PowerPoint. So give me a second to do that. All right, so here is the bracket we have so far. So it looks like we've got Grodd, Livewire, Indigo, Malcolm Merlin, Ramakon, Selena, Psy, and Evil Gideon still in play. So that's who we're working with now. So the next matchup is going to be Grodd versus Livewire. So give me a second to pull up the timer, and then we'll get into that. So we have Grodd from, I guess, Team Werewolf. We will argue for Grodd there, and Livewire will be argued by Team Mermaid. So Team Mermaid, how is Livewire going to beat Grodd? A minute on the clock and go.
I have a quote I want to read from Storm, who said, Storm from the X-Men, who says, do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
That's
so if Storm,
one of the all-time great cinema quotes. I feel it's necessary to say. And
so if Storm could do that, Livewire has the same powers. So you know what happens to a gorilla when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
Oh, snap, 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 snap. Also, do you like podcasts? You're listening to this, so I'm going to assume the answer is yes. You're going to vote against a podcaster?
God would have a bad podcast.
Personnel? No, you're not going to, because Leslie is amazing. Also, she and Supergirl kind of connected at the end, and she had a little bit of a redemption arc, which I don't know.
Grodd didn't.
When did Grodd? I don't remember
Grodd can't even wear a hat.
Lightning.
How is he supposed to defeat Livewire?
Okay, that's the argument from Team Mermaid. So we are going to have Team Werewolf argue on behalf of Grodd. A minute on the clock. I don't know if Amy is back with us.
I am.
Okay, so Amy, if you'll allow me to start this, and I'll hand it over to you. All right, 1 minute on the clock and go. I heard a lot of arguments from Team Mermaid about why Livewire was a redeemed hero and not why she'd be a good villain. So I think that, that's kind of weak for her as a villain, that she, decided to be good and play with the heroes. I think with Grodd, you're not going to see that kind of redemption arc because he just likes to be a villain. And I think if we're talking about podcasting and broadcasting, Grodd could just, manipulate people's minds with the radio, and he could be able to tell them whatever he wants to tell them. So I think Grodd could just take over the airwaves if he really wanted to.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Livewire depends upon her listeners. She depends upon her fan base. Well, in Legends of Tomorrow, Gorilla Grodd made his own kingdom by taking over the mines in the Vietnam episode. He could take over the minds of every one of her listeners, and they will turn on her. That's power, ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
the one thing I love is that I had like 20 seconds to talk about that Toad quote, and nobody even mentioned it because it's such a strong argument.
It was
it's a great argument, okay?
and again, such a beautiful cinematic quote.
It's one of my favorite cinematic quotes in history.
Mine as well.
That Storm quote, because it makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, that is going to do it.
Harley Berry.
All right, so live chat, please vote either Livewire or a Grodd, and we'll see who wins this battle.
Okay, so as a West Coaster, fun fact, it's currently damp out. It rained today. My backyard is flooded. So just
flooded
to make a conversation. Yeah, it's San Diego doesn't soak rain well. So if we get any amount of a lot of rain at once, but also our backyard is just poorly graded. Anyway, what's the weather like over there where you guys are?
It actually wasn't bad today. It was sunny.
Really?
Apparently
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania, there was some sort of like snow squall situation.
Oh yeah, there was that snow squall though. It was sunny and then a snow squall showed up. Which I think is what a snow squall is. It's like it starts out sunny and then
comes
it automatically
through.
comes through.
I got like a notification on my phone. It was like, do not travel. It's a snow squall. And I'm like looking out the window and like nothing's happening. And I was like,
it was sunny out.
Okay.
It's like the snow version of a flash flood.
Yeah.
Like it comes out of nowhere. And that's a problem in San Diego is people don't realize like flash floods can kill you. Like especially if it's where a burn scar was, like where a fire was. If the rain comes, like I said, we don't soak up water well. And so the water just doesn't get absorbed into the ground and it just gushes down a hill. Anyway, this has been Weather with the Legendary Ladies.
You can talk. Well, one day we'll get my brother on a podcast where he could just talk about the weather.
Oh my gosh, yes.
He definitely would do it to me. Let's talk about plans. He'd do it.
Hiatus episode. It's just weather.
No, let's talk to Alex about weather.
We should
I'll
all
get him on
bring
one
a
of these
guest
days.
on for a hiatus episode. Like Morgan, you bring
like show and tell.
I'll bring my brother.
Yeah. I like that. That'd be fun.
I'll bring Mike and he can tell you about a day in the life of a CPA.
Yeah,
I like it.
My brother
I think we should do it.
Works for a thing called Brain Corp, so he's probably making actual robots. Oh no,
There you go. That's fun.
Robots.
All right, I am making the decision that Livewire is going to the semifinal.
Yeah.
So Livewire beat Grodd in that
It
one.
was all because of that quote.
It was. I'm going to use it again.
All right, next matchup is Indigo versus Malcolm Merlin. So taking on another Arrowverse or Arrow character, really. So Indigo is going through the Arrow character. So Team Mermaid, how is Indigo going to beat Malcolm Merlin? You have a minute on the clock and go.
Well, you know what's scary? The internet and technology. We're all a little afraid of technology. Let's be honest.
Malcolm can't even use it. Malcolm's probably so bad at the internet.
Malcolm's like an older gentleman. He probably doesn't know how to convert something to a PDF, right? How is he gonna go up against Indigo, who can be in the internet? She has stretchy ability. She's gone up toe to toe with Supergirl. Supergirl has super strength. Malcolm.
What does Green Arrow have? Nothing. What does Malcolm Merlin have?
Yeah. Oh, Malcolm Merlin can take down Green Arrow. He's just a rich guy with a bow and arrow. Congrats.
He died in the first season.
Exactly. Against
Green Arrow.
She's Kaluan. So she's smart. One assumes.
And she is not blue. She's not pink. She is indigo. So remember.
Hands.
All right, that's an argument from Team Mermaid. Team Werewolf, we have a minute on the clock to argue for Malcolm Merlin. And Amy, if you will allow me, I will go first.
Okay.
To address some things here. So a minute on the clock and go. So if you will recall at the end of season 1 of Supergirl, the reason that we didn't that we no longer see Indigo in the series after the end of season 1 is that Jean breaks Indigo in half, and that's kind of the end of Indigo. All you really have to do is kind of tear her apart. She's just technology. All you have to do is kind of tear her apart and unplug her, and that's kind of it. And so I think what Malcolm Merlin can bring to the table is that he's an expert marksman with a bow and arrow. He could have trick arrows like Green Arrow does, and he could maybe attach something so that he shoots 2 arrows at the same time and rips her apart. I think Malcolm Merlin's got this with trick arrows.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, wait a second. Malcolm Merlin doesn't know how to internet? He built an earthquake device and is a CEO of a major company equivalent to Wayne Industries. But he doesn't know how to internet? He's gonna code Indigo out of his will.
Someone else is doing that for him. We all know that.
Yeah, he pays people for that, baby. He doesn't know.
He doesn't know how to internet.
I'm sure he was calling Tommy how do I turn this thing on?
All right, that's it for Team Werewolf's argument. So we have Indigo versus Merlin. So live chat, please put your votes in, and we'll see who wins this battle.
I feel like this is going to be a tight one.
Yeah, this will be interesting. I'm really curious.
There are some interesting arguments.
Man, Man, I am getting some serious Arrow season 1 and 2 flashbacks.
Yeah, there's a lot of Arrow characters in this bracket.
But you notice it only is from seasons 1 and 2, and sort of, I guess, 3. Who was the guy who stabs Oliver at the top of the mountain and Oliver falls?
Ra's al
Ra's al Ghul, yeah.
Okay,
I'm surprised he's not in here.
Yeah, I thought about putting him in, but we did get a little Arrow heavy on some of these villains, so I had to sacrifice one of them.
Ra's al Ghul.
Well, it looks like Merlin wins. Which
Why was Nyssa not in here? I would love to see
because I think she's like an anti-hero. I think that's why.
Say, does she count as a straight villain, straight up villain?
She's not even straight, so
I fixed it when after I said it. I was like, how dare I ever say that about?
Yeah, how can you say that?
All right, Malcolm Merlin looks to have won that battle, so
and also Ra's al Ghul, because I see some Ra's al Ghul.
we gotta vote for Ra's al Ghul here.
All right, so Merlin goes to the semifinal with a Livewire. All right, so the next battle we have is Rama Khan versus Selena. So this is a mermaid on mermaid battle.
Oh my gosh. This is a tough one.
So, Morgan, I'm going to give you Rama Khan.
Okay.
Good.
And Kat, I'm going to give you Selena, the Kryptonian witch. So, Morgan, I'm going to give you the floor first. So, a minute on the clock to argue for why Rama Khan would beat Selena, and go.
Well, first off, I think it's important to remember that Rama Khan has been around forever. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He's gotten those postcards. Okay. Selena, sure, she's a Kryptonian. She's a witch, whatever. He has been here since the ancient times. His face is on a playing card. Is there a greater honor than that? I don't think there is. And sure, he's retired to the vineyard and he's making his Rama Khan Rama wine, but he can still get back out there and mix it up. He can still throw a pile of dirt at you. He can also create an earthquake. How are you supposed to fight an earthquake? He's got like earthbender powers. He can change the very terraform of the earth. That's one of his powers. He can also use the earth's rocks. So he can throw some rocks at you. Oh, watch out. Duck that rock. Here comes Rama Khan.
Okay, that is the argument for Rama Khan. Playing to the Supergirl Radio viewers here. Smart strategy. So, Kat, you have a minute on the clock to argue for Selena, the Kryptonian witch. And go.
You mentioned an earthquake. She can fly, so I think she's fine. You mentioned that he likes to retire. Selena would never retire. She's a Kryptonian who wants to control rain and does. She's so powerful that she could. The person that weren't allowed in this bracket, she controls her. So she's even more powerful than the person who wasn't allowed in this bracket. And she has a really nice haircut. I think that rules out with the garb that he's wearing. And she has nice garb too. She has a little Argo.
Oh, did we lose Kat?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I think we might have lost Kat.
I'm here. Here.
Kat, I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds left back. You're back now
for a second.
I'm gonna put a couple more seconds on the clock.
I don't even need the more seconds.
All right, go.
I feel like I've said so much. I mean, that beginning argument was so good about the earthquake and also rain. Like, she literally controls rain. She has Supergirl's powers. How is this middle-aged man supposed to do anything? He slaps mud around. What? How is that a superpower? Oh, I got a little dirty. Who cares?
All right, that is a minute for Kat arguing Selena. So, live chat, please put in the chat if you're going to go with Rama Khan or Selena.
I mean, who would you rather garden with?
That was not the question. It's still Selena. You can picture her in a sun hat. I can.
That'd be a great look for her. We're bringing it back around to hats. Or a pink hat.
For a bottle of Rama wine, no one wants that shit.
He only uses the best grapes that he grows himself.
I'm sure Selena could find some. How are people voting for Rama Khan? How?
I mean, he's the argument? The mystery.
What was the argument there?
I think it was the earthquakes, and also
I think I call I called Morgan spending some money and giving it to the chat, just like you give it to Rachel. Because this is crazy. Him and in the wine. How? When? At least I got 3 votes for Selena. Her name's Selena, for God's sake. She has such a fun name.
It is a fun name. But I mean, is it more fun than Ramakan?
Ramakan very much rolls off the tongue.
It does. It does. It's fun to say.
It really is.
So is Selena. Selena is a strong name.
Also a good name.
It has a strong name. Think of Catwoman. Do you like the new Batman? You're gonna love her.
I would send them to you, Kat, but you're not on Instagram. I have been sending Morgan a lot of clips of like interviews between Rob Pattinson and Zoe, whose last name I cannot say.
Kravitz?
Is it Kravitz? For whatever reason, I think it's longer than that. Like in my brain, there should be more syllables. I don't know. I probably feel that on an emotional level. My last name has too many syllables.
It's fair.
That might be it.
Hilarious. Like the two of them, if they don't actually get married, I am a monkey's uncle. Like they're ridiculous.
Rachel voted for Zoe Kravitz.
She's trying to remind me that there are only 2 syllables in Zoe Kravitz's 3 syllables total.
All right, I think
it has a lot of letters.
I think I'm giving this round to this battle to Ramakan.
Oh, that's stupid.
So Rama thanks you.
Ramakan has advanced, beating the only character who could control rain. Kat made a really good argument about that.
I didn't think he was going to take it, honestly. But
no, that argument was so good. She literally couldn't be in the game. She's stronger than her.
All right, so Ramakan advances to the semifinal, and our last one for this second round is Sai versus Evil Gideon. So let me get the clock back up so that we can make sure we get the timer going. So just as a reminder, Sai versus Evil Gideon. So Team Mermaid, you have a minute on the clock for Sai, and go.
Now, remember that she's got telepathy. Remember that she's Petra. She can also do...
Remember she's bisexual.
She can also do psionic blasts because as a telepath, she can project a powerful mental blast that can hit the target mentally.
She's a bank robber.
Yeah, she can make you... she can show you what you're afraid of and really throw you off. She can
Who's she versing?
Like psychic vertigo. Where are you going to go?
Anyways,
Evil Gideon. Evil Gideon. Gideon's a computer.
She can control Evil Gideon. She could control her. Evil Gideon thinks that Sai's hot. We all know it. And Evil Gideon can't think straight when she's looking at Sai.
Sai's going to use her shock waves, and she's just going to break the computer. Lights out.
If you use that timeline shit, Sai is in Jane the Virgin. She's in another universe. She doesn't need the timeline. You can't even get her.
Boom.
All right, that's the argument for Sai from Team Mermaid. So Team Werewolf, we have a minute on the clock to argue for Evil Gideon. Amy, if you will, let me start it, and then you can kind of piggyback on the back of that. So 1 minute on the clock, and go. So Sai normally is one of the greatest Supergirl villains of all time, but on Supergirl, the TV series, one of her traits was that she would recite nursery rhymes, and it was not something that was in the source material. It's not something Sai has ever done in the comics, but for some reason the show wanted to do nursery rhymes, and that's kind of a lame thing to give your villain. Doesn't apply to anything that she could actually do. So Amy, I'll give it over to you as to how Evil Gideon could fight somebody who has psychic abilities.
Excuse me, Evil Gideon, again, can erase her from existence. But I will remind you that Evil Gideon builds robots. Robots are in... you cannot mind control a robot that does not have a mind to be controlled. Gideon is not only a computer that can cause viruses, but she can literally build robots that are invincible against psychic powers.
All right, that is a minute for the argument for Evil Gideon. So live chat, please put in there, put in the chat your vote, whether you want to vote for Sai or Evil Gideon.
Okay, you know when you're looking for a word and you cannot find it, but it's literally on the tip of your tongue? I kept trying to think of the word invulnerable. like robots invulnerable to
Yeah.
psychopath, and I could not come up with it. And I'm like, how do I say this word? I'm like, where's my thesaurus when I need it? Dude, when I'm writing, that's all I have open. It's literally thesaurus.com. Like, what's another way to say beautiful?
Well,
That's
I
not
think that's actually a
beautiful.
good way to do it because you don't want to write the same word over and
No.
over and over again.
You definitely don't.
No.
Yeah.
All right, so far we've got Evil Gideon votes.
Really? No one wants to vote for Sai?
I was in
great.
Jane the Virgin.
Great on Jane the
Wait, so,
Virgin. Remember how
Rebecca,
great she was on Jane the Virgin?
why is Sai, because I don't know her character source material, why is she really, really, like, bomb and awesome and
I just personally really like Sai as a villain. At one point in Rebirth, she, if I remember correctly, she like turned into a dragon at one point, or like she created a dragon or something, and it was awesome. That part of Rebirth was not that great, but the dragon was pretty cool. I just like Sai because she's kind of a complicated villain. She can kind of get into Supergirl's dreams a little bit. And so I just really like some stories like The Adventures of Supergirl comics based on the TV show written by Sterling Gates has a lot of Sai. So if you're interested in actually seeing Sai do some really cool things, I would highly recommend that one.
Don't say actually do cool things. She did cool things in the show. We all know it.
She did cause
something.
Supergirl to have panic attacks. So
Pretty
so
cool.
There,
I
so
mean,
there is
not
that.
for Supergirl, but as a villain.
I don't know.
That's-
Evil Gideon had caused some severe panic attacks for like an entire cast.
Shh.
All right, I'm seeing a
He was
lot
never
of
in Jane
Evil
the Virgin.
Gideon.
Good
Seeing a
shit.
lot of Evil
Yeah.
Gideon in the chat.
Ah.
So
We swept that. I'll have you know that with the exception of one vote, both of the ones Team Werewolf has argued, Malcolm Merlin and Evil Gideon, swept.
Look, don't pat
Wow.
yourself on the back.
Wow.
It's Malcolm Merlin and it's Evil Gideon. We had Sai and Hat.
we were
We had
working with a
Vandal
little bit of
Savage,
a
mind
little bit of a
you.
handicap there.
all right, just to
Vandal
update
Savage does
everybody.
Jenga.
He does, and he does it beautifully.
Yeah.
So just to update everybody on the bracket
This
so
is
that
getting
you can
good.
see where we are. So it looks like our next round is going to be Livewire versus Malcolm Merlin in the semifinal on that side of the bracket. And on the other side of the bracket, it's going to be Rama Khan versus Evil Gideon. So that should be quite the showdown. So if you will hang tight with me as I get the countdown pulled back up. And since we're in the semifinal, since I have something here, let's just ring in the semifinal.
Ooh.
All right, so this next battle is Livewire versus Malcolm Merlin. So, Team Mermaid, you have a minute on the clock to say why Livewire would beat Malcolm Merlin, and go.
Do you know what lightning does to a Malcolm Merlin? What it does to everything else.
Oh, discussion over. Case closed. She has lightning powers.
She's
She
literally
can
going
aim
to electrocute
from
him.
the
It's
sky,
holding
from
metal.
the sky. Can
What
you
the hell
be
can he even
away
do?
from the sky? No.
She has a
Everything is
podcast.
there. She's in a podcast, which also goes over the airways, which is also in the sky.
And she's going to persuade all her listeners to be like, you suck, Malcolm Merlin. And then he's going to feel bad about himself because he has
Exactly.
this ego that's just like, ah, shit, maybe I do suck. And then he gets electrocuted. Like, what the hell is he even going to do? He can't even get close to her. He won't even be in 5 inches of her. No.
She went toe to toe with Supergirl. You don't think she can go toe to toe with Malcolm Merlin? He could barely take down Green Arrow, who's just some rich dude who got bored one day.
Let me also add, I know we ran out of time, but let me just say something.
I'll let you finish.
If Peppa Pig asks Livewire to clap, she say no.
Oh.
You never
All
seen
right.
that Adele meme?
That's
I wish I could show that Adele meme. Let me just everyone vote in the comments because we all know Livewire won. But let me real quick. Adele was on a Q&A and someone asked, would you collab with Peppa Pig? And she said, no. Just when you know, Livewire would not collab with Peppa Pig, and she's a rock star.
I believe it.
I want to see that collab, actually. Okay, so Team Werewolf, we have a minute on the clock to argue for Malcolm Merlin over Livewire. And Amy, if you will allow me to go for first, I will address it first. So a minute on the clock and go. So there was some question in Team Mermaid's argument about how Malcolm Merlin would take Livewire down. That's a really easy answer. Livewire cannot do anything if her hands are in water. Water is a real easy way to stop Livewire from using her electric powers. So really all Malcolm Merlin needs to do is like throw her in a pool. I think that'd be really easy. Just push her over the edge. She's in the pool. She's kind of flailing around. She's not able to use her powers. She's just going to, maybe just take a swim. So Malcolm Merlin doesn't even really have to put up a fight. He can just use a trick arrow, push her in a pool, and Livewire's done.
Yeah, and this whole argument that Livewire can fry people with lightning, I will remind you, Malcolm Merlin has a friend in the Legion of Doom. His name is Eobard Thawne, a speedster who will catch the lightning Livewire throws at him and shoot it right back at Livewire and take her down for his bestie Malcolm Merlin. Sometimes being a villain is knowing who your best villainous friends are.
I'm going to say, it's not part of the argument, but I've never seen a pool in Arrow. Ever.
Wait, isn't like the Central City by an ocean?
No,
that's not a pool.
National City is a coastal location.
Yeah, and that's still not a pool. I still never seen.
Wait, hold on. The chat says Reverse Flash doesn't even go here. Doesn't matter.
I agree.
What your Livewire has her like podcast friends? Literally,
I never said they were doing anything about it.
Of Doom.
I just saying that she had friends. That's it. I was just saying she had friends.
She's an influencer.
Yeah, and that Malcolm Merlin gets sad a lot.
He does. So sad.
All right, live chat. Please vote. Please vote if you want to vote for Livewire or Malcolm Merlin in the chat. Now is the time to do so.
Google.
Has there ever been a pool in Arrow?
What is this? Oh, this is.
No, Lazarus Pit does not count as a pool.
I don't think so.
I just got redirected to a series of townhome and flats called The Arrow. Where is this? These are nice. They're in Bozeman, Montana.
There you go, Amy.
We're all moving to Montana.
Wait, hold on.
Or we can all get a pool.
Let's see how expensive this is. What?
In Montana?
I bet
it's going to be very cheap.
You can get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square foot flat for $1,200. You guys, I looked at a 200 square foot studio with a kitchenette.
How can anything be 200 square feet, Amy? That's like not even a room.
It really is. It was just a room. Like the pictures were not fair. I got there and I was like, oh, this is legit the room. I was like, those are the doors. And she's like, yeah, that heads to the house. And I'm like, so you could just walk into my room? And she's like, no, we'll put a couch in the way. And I was like,
that seems fun. That seems chill and normal. Should definitely take that.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to call it. It looks like Livewire is going to move on to the next round, which is actually the final round. So Livewire has made it to the final round.
I'm not surprised.
So now we need
it's that Toad quote.
It is. It takes him down every time.
So now we need to figure out who is going to join Livewire in the final round. Is it going to be Rama Khan or is it going to be Evil Gideon? So Team Mermaid, you are arguing in favor of Rama Khan. So how is Rama Khan going to beat Evil Gideon? A minute on the clock and go.
Gideon's not even a cool name.
Gideon's not a cool name, but you know what is? Rama Khan. Just say it. It rolls off the tongue.
His clothes are cool. He'll shove some mud in your face. He's a middle-aged man. We all know they're powerful.
he's been on television since the 90s. He was in the X-Files. The X-Files, people. He also he has superhuman physical attributes. He's got super strength. He can control earthquakes. Gideon. He could control Gideon. What's she gonna do? He'll just earthquake the ship apart. Bye.
Yeah.
He can throw
The ship's
giant
gone.
rocks at the ship, right? He can throw rocks. He can throw dirt. He could just bury Gideon under a giant pile of dirt. Then he can grow some flowers on it.
What's
Now
Evil
he's
Gideon
got a
even gonna
garden.
do in National City?
I don't know.
All she has is a wave rider.
He's been around forever, you guys, forever.
All right, that
We
is
can go any timeline.
that is time for Team Mermaid's arguments. So Team Werewolf, we need to argue on behalf of Evil Gideon. Amy, if you'll allow me to go first, and then you can maybe hop on in there if you'd like to. All right, so a minute on the clock and go. So Ramakan, if I remember correctly, I tried to repress a lot of season 5, so it's hard for me to really get all these details straight. But Ramakan was part of Leviathan, which was kind of nebulous. We aren't really sure what they were because they changed like mid-season. But Leviathan was dealing in technology, and they were taken down by technology. Brainiac 5 got in there, and Supergirl like put something in the console, and then like Pencil Skirt Gamemne like destroyed herself. So really, I think Leviathan, including Ramakan, can be taken down by technology, which Evil Gideon could definitely do.
Yeah, and I'll remind you that apparently this Ramakan dude can go all over history, and he's been in charge of Earth for the last 2 million years. Evil Gideon, has the power to go back and catch him before he even gets to Earth. She can prevent him from even getting here in the first place.
All right, so that is the argument for Evil Gideon. So live chat, please let us know what your vote is. Is it going to be Ramakan, or is it going to be Evil Gideon who takes this round and goes into the final round against Livewire?
I mean, it's got to be Ramakan, right?
He's gone this far.
He has made it
pretty
far. He has made it so far.
Don't you
He's
want to see
also
Ramakan
representing
versus
for-
Livewire? Like, that's gonna be cool.
I mean, that's a battle royale. That's
Yeah.
He's also, I mean, think about it. He's also kind of representing Leviathan. He's like holding it down for Leviathan. So did you love Pencil Skirt? No one else did, but if it was you.
But you know what Ramakan really reminds you of is season 5 and how terrible that season was. Season 5
Yes,
is
and you know what Evil Gideon
objectively
reminds
the
you
worst
of? How
season of Supergirl.
Great season 7 of Legends of Tomorrow is. So let's be honest. Evil Gideon creates good memories. Ramakan, not so much.
Nah, I think a Ramakan
Eardrums.
with pleasant memories of Ramakan. I've never saw this season, but I love him. I've learned so much about him.
I'm glad he
Okay.
was a highlight of that season.
What
He
is
really
Pencil
was for some
Skirt?
reason.
What is Pencil Skirt? I gotta know what's going on
Oh,
here.
Pencil Skirt also worked at Leviathan. She was also like a kind of a god like Ramakan who'd been around forever. I never could remember her name, and she was always wearing like little sensible pencil skirts. So I just started calling her Pencil Skirt.
Gotcha.
And I never bothered to remember her name.
Pencil skirt is such an interesting word.
It is, isn't it? They don't
Yeah.
look like pencils.
No, they don't. I wonder how they came about.
I'm seeing a more
Huh.
Evil Gideon than I am Ramakan, though.
Look,
Oh no!
I will say with that, it is literally Legends versus Supergirl.
I kind of like this. It's like
Yeah. I was
her
gonna
name
mention
is
that, but I'm like, I want to win, so I didn't mention it until now.
Gamemne?
Yeah, that's her name, but
Gamemne.
she also went by Gemma. She had a couple of names. We called her.
Gemma's a cool name.
Does this
It's a
mean I
little
have to
easier
argue for
than
Evil Gideon
Gamine.
in an entirely British accent in the next round? In the final.
Maybe
I
you
mean, that's up
should.
to you. You have creative liberty.
All right, so I think I'm going to make the call. I think Evil Gideon is going to the final round against Livewire. So
That's okay because Ramakan just retired and he's back out on the farm growing that wine.
We should mention the wine.
All right, so we now have Livewire versus Evil Gideon. So this is the final round to determine a villain to go into the championship round. So this is the final round. All right, so Team Mermaid, you are arguing on behalf of Livewire. How is Livewire going to defeat Evil Gideon? You have a minute on the clock and go.
Do you know what lightning does to an evil Gideon? But it does to everything else.
I think it's important to say that Livewire is like electricity. She is
blow
lightning.
out the Wave Rider. She can
How
literally.
does Gideon compete with that? Like, how does Gideon fight against Livewire? Livewire is just going to short circuit her. Goodbye, lights out, evil Gideon. You're
Think
a
about when
machine.
lightning strikes a Wave Rider. What's
Yeah.
going to happen to it? Just like everything else,
Everything
it's going to
else.
blow up. All the electricity, all the electronics are not going to work. There's literally going to be no evil Gideon. There's literally no one to fight. The match doesn't even happen because there's no one to fight.
Yeah, Livewire is just hanging out. She's going back to her radio show. She's going to pick up a couple extra sponsors. She's an influencer. Remember that she's an influencer. She's influencing people. She's going.
She
through
can
the
influence
technology.
evil Gideon. Gideon's
She'll go
very,
right into
very
that technology.
gullible.
Short circuit it.
All right, that is the argument from Team Mermaid. Team Werewolf, we need to argue on behalf of Evil Gideon to defeat Livewire. And Amy, if you'll allow me to go first, we'll get a minute on the clock and go. So Amy, just so that I understand Evil Gideon can go back in time. Is that correct?
Absolutely. She can control the Wave Rider. She can go anywhere she wants.
Okay, perfect. So the way that she defeats Livewire is that she just goes back before Livewire gets her abilities, which was a helicopter incident with Supergirl. So Supergirl's holding on to the helicopter trying to save Livewire, and then there's like a lightning thing, and then she gets her powers from that. So all you really have to do is just go back in time, and then Livewire is just another shock jock talking crap on Cat Co's radio station, whatever that means. So I think that's really how you go about defeating Livewire.
And let's remember that you say Gideon can be destroyed, and when they destroyed the Wave Rider, Gideon's practically omnipresent. She can be anywhere. She can be in the time vault of the internet.
I don't even know where that's been proven on Legends of Tomorrow. But...
All right, that is the argument for Team Evil Gideon here. So live chat, if you will vote, put in Livewire or Evil Gideon. Is Team Mermaid or Team Werewolf going to take this final round to pick a villain in the villains bracket? So please let us know what your votes are.
I Post-it note that says Gideon is everywhere.
Gideon is
Hold on, let me look back at my Post-it notes.
It is false information. The lie.
This is a stressful. This is a stressful one.
I have Tobias owns the dirt. That's great.
He does own the dirt.
This
and he
next
didn't
Post-it
win,
note
so.
says you need a question mark. Deathstroke gave us Sarah Lance. Hilarious. Gideon can erase hope from existence. Great Post-it note. Gideon. I have a Post-it note that says Gideon is also bisexual.
Do we know that for a fact?
What else? Malcolm Merlin friends with benefits. Gideon has been around. I don't know what that means.
These
and
are all
Gideon
starting
is
to
everywhere.
sound
My Post-it
vaguely
notes
wrong.
are great.
All right, so-
oh man. What?
Okay.
Why is Livewire making a comeback here? What is
seeing
this?
a
Thank God.
Livewire comeback.
Guys, you know what happens to Evil Gideon. You all know. You all know what's going to happen.
I don't know. Bishop's got her backup file somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. 1, 2,
The chat
3.
seems to be turning. It's turning to Livewire.
Turn to the good
4,
side.
4 for Gideon.
bad side.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Livewire, I think. So
let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, this
1,
might
2,
be
3.
this might be a Livewire. Somebody else check my math there.
No,
right?
I see 6 for Gideon.
But I think I see 5 for Gideon.
I see
Evie.
5.
Yeah.
I see mine,
put her
Brian.
vote twice. I was counting.
Yeah,
her
exactly.
Twice.
So that's 5, and then Livewire is 1.
Oh my
2,
God, I think it's 5
3,
and 5.
4, 5, 6. No, 6 because
Is it
Mark
6?
says I think Livewire shorts out the Wave Rider. Plus, if Evil Gideon goes back.
Mark also voted as well.
Yeah, he voted.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess it's
No, we
tied then.
can't do a coin flip on this one. We have to revote.
Donna says I count 6 for. Oh, okay. So Donna, did you vote?
Hold on, let's
You
see.
should vote.
2, 3.
Why is it so
3.
complicated to count?
I don't know.
Why are we all having trouble
All
counting?
right,
the live chat?
let's start at the top here. Let's start at the top. Okay.
4.
All
right.
1, 2.
5. 5 for Evil Gideon, I'm seeing.
I see 5 for Evil Gideon as well, and then Livewire I see 1.
I see 5 for Livewire.
2,
Shoot,
3,
I
4,
see 5
5.
for Livewire.
Guys,
It's a
just
tie.
one more. Just one more
Somebody vote and vote your heart.
Daryl hasn't
vote.
voted.
Oh, Daryl gave Livewire.
No!
Daryl voted tie.
Daryl.
All right,
The tie.
so Livewire is the champion of the villains bracket.
it.
Someone else vote for Gideon. Retie it.
All
No
right,
ties.
so now let's see. I'm going to put Livewire in the championship round versus Martian Manhunter. So that's
and we got Livewire, got another one.
So what we're going to end up having here is a Team Mermaid versus Team Mermaid situation.
Whoa.
So if you will indulge me, so this is the championship that we're going to have to deal
Let me
with.
have
So,
Livewire.
all right, championship round. Here we go. All right, because Kat called it first, I'm going to give Kat Livewire, and that leaves Morgan to argue on behalf of Martian Manhunter. And let's see, since Kat volunteered first, I'm going to give Kat the floor to argue for Livewire. I'm putting a minute on the clock and go.
Martian Manhunter loved being in the shadows. He didn't interact with many people besides Supergirl and Alex. Like, he's like, I'm going to stay back. I'm going to be a detective. Livewire, she loved the people. She loved talking to our podcast people. But most importantly, she has the power of electricity, which creates fire, which is the ultimate weakness of Martian Manhunter. So literally, how is Martian Manhunter going to defeat her? Because also, what happens to a Martian Manhunter when it's electrocuted, when it's struck by lightning? What happens to everything else? That's exactly what happens to Martian Manhunter. And we all know what happens to everybody else. They die. They burn. Because Mother Nature, guys, is a strong being. We all know Mother Nature is the best thing in the world, right? She is the strongest person in the world. She is Mother Nature. Guess who controls Mother Nature? Livewire. She controls it through her voice, through her podcast, and through her powers.
I'm not sure that's entirely accurate, but that's
Yeah.
Kat's argument for Livewire in the championship round.
I think there might have been some lies in that one, but
Livewire.
The chat will be the judge of that, I guess. So Morgan, you have a minute on the clock to determine how Martian Manhunter is going to beat Livewire, and go.
okay, here's how Martian Manhunter is going to beat Livewire. He's going to look at her. He's going to put his hands to either side of his temples. He's going to think at her real hard because he's got that telepathy. He can stop her in her tracks with only his mind. But he's got other powers too. He doesn't just need to use that mind. He can use he can shapeshift. So he could be anyone. So she thinks she's fighting Martian Manhunter. Suddenly he's gone. He's over here. He's over there. He's her best friend, the radio producer. Oh, she's just talking to her best friend. Oh, now it's Martian Manhunter, and he's got her. He can also fly. I feel like that's important. He's super strong. He can phase through things. So she tries to electric shock him. He'll just phase through a wall. His true love, Miss Martian, was so good at that. She never came back. Right? So. Mind powers.
Okay. I was wondering
This is
when
gonna
we
be
were
a
going
tough
to
one.
work Magan in here. Okay,
course,
so
of course.
that is it for Morgan's argument for Martian Manhunter. So live chat, who is conveniently for Supergirl Radio. This is a Supergirl showdown in the bracket. So
That's actually
live
kind of cool.
In the mermaid section. I think it's just because
In
of
the
our
mermaid
arguments. They were
Yeah,
so good.
We're great. We're great arguers.
Let us
We
know
should
if
join
it
the
is
team.
Yeah, live chat, let us know if it's Martian Manhunter or Livewire.
I think it's just because we made such great arguments the whole way through.
I think so. I think, we thought
brought in
outside the
quotes.
box.
We brought in
We did.
fashion. We brought in other TV shows that weren't related.
Yes. We brought in other characters.
And that's how you know you did your research.
Exactly.
Look, I'm seeing some Martian Manhunter, and I don't get it. I said fire, guys. I said
that's
fire.
because-
You know what happens to Martian Manhunter when he's struck by lightning. You know it.
I think they also put like both fingers to the sides of their temples and they thought really hard and they were like,
They're like,
"Thanks,
live
Martian
wire."
What
Manhunter."
you don't
shit.
know is that Morgan is secretly doing that. She's got Mike is
so.
in the other room.
Just staring at the chat
Yes.
gently.
Space Dad. Hilarious.
All right. So do we have a count as of yet?
So
There's
far,
one against
counting.
20.
It's
We got some more live wire. We got some more live wire. We got 2 live wires.
He can make Livewire forget she has powers.
Nah. She's strong-willed.
I feel like that's not true.
so was
Nah,
Alex
she's a
before he
strong-
made her brain Swiss cheese.
All right.
Livewire is a strong girl.
But is
She's a
she a
good
good
girl.
girl? She's not a
She's
good
a good
girl.
girl.
She's a bad girl, Kat.
she ended up being a good girl in the end.
Nah, she's a good girl.
Yeah.
To be honest,
We all know it.
I really wanted to see Martian Manhunter versus Evil Gideon.
I did too, honestly.
Honestly, yeah, me too.
I
Like,
couldn't believe
Livewire
Livewire
didn't
did
deserve that spot.
I don't know about that one.
The
I
chat
know she control
spoke.
fire.
Yeah, the chat spoke, and I think has spoken in favor of Martian Manhunter. I'm going to declare
I'm not surprised
Martian
by this.
Manhunter the champion of this.
That's
All
quite
right.
the-
John.
So congratulations to Team Mermaid and to Morgan individually
Thank you. Thank you.
for being the
So
champion.
basically, what you're saying is Supergirl Radio represented.
I think
in
so.
this.
I mean, there might have been like a little bit of a bias in the.
Nah.
In the
I don't
chat.
agree.
Yeah, wait a second.
There could have been a slight bias towards Supergirl characters. I
Nah.
don't know how that would have happened, honestly, but
Evil Gideon definitely should have been at the end. I do agree with that. Chat, guys, how did you vote Livewire? Like, I know why you voted Livewire, but
Yeah,
I don't
that's
because of that quote.
You guys have
Kat.
to defend
think
yourselves.
so. I can't believe that quote didn't work for the end, though. That really upset me. I think they heard it too much. It's like a quote they already saw. They're like,
You
oh,
should have kept
seen
that in your
movie
back
before.
pocket to like bring it out when it was most powerful.
She wouldn't have gotten as far without the
That's
quote.
true. That's true. The quote.
So I
was
had to
the
keep
key.
using it.
All right, that is going to do it for our March Madness tournament bracket. We chose a villain character, and then we pitted the villain up against Martian Manhunter, and then Martian Manhunter won in the
Are we
end.
surprised by that? Martian Manhunter is such a strong character.
He's a great character, and thank you to everybody in the live chat who kept us straight on everything, and also voted and spent your time with us and played a very powerful role in March Madness and being with us for this game night. But I think that's going to do it for this game night here on Supergirl Radio. Thank you to both of our teams for joining us. Really, it's the legendary ladies came to Supergirl Radio, but I really essentially came to the Legends of Tomorrow podcast. So thank you to the legendary ladies for joining us for this episode of Supergirl Radio. So if you'll tell us or our listeners how we can maybe find Legends of Tomorrow podcast.
Who knows, really?
Oh, look, Rebecca knows. There's a whole graphic.
Rebecca knows. If you want to find us on Twitter, you can find us on @legends_podcast. You can also find us on legendsoftomorrow.com podcast.com. If you go to legendsoftomorrow.com, you're not going to get our podcast. I can guarantee you that.
I don't know what you're gonna find, honestly.
You can find out and report back. Send us an email at thelegendspodcast@gmail.com. Again, and this is very important, if you're going to sign up for Match.com, please don't use our email address. I don't know why you would do that. You'll get some good matches, but you'll never.
We
see
hope you
them.
find love.
We do hope that you find love. We wish
Fun
that for you.
fact, The Legends of Tomorrow, like just legendsoftomorrow.com is a domain available for sale.
We really
Let's
should
buy
take
it.
Let's help everybody who's trying to make a Match.com profile and get that domain and help everybody out.
If anyone is a Legends listener, we are going to be doing our fan feedback episode in a couple of days, so you can contact us in any of the ways previously mentioned or shown on your screen. Specifically the email, you are allowed to write a long email and tell us maybe what your favorite episode was, your favorite line, like Ava's safe word is core competency. You can let us know who your favorite character was, your season MVP. This is your opportunity to write the long email we begged you not to earlier in the season, and tell us why you loved Legends of Tomorrow Season 7 so much. In fact, tell us, was it your favorite, or does Season 3 still beat it out?
Ooh.
All right. So, Kat, Amy, how can Supergirl Radio listeners and viewers keep in touch with you? Kat, we'll go first.
At Comic Uno is the best place to find me. So we also have a Kickstarter coming up. Who knew? 2 weeks from now. Is Slice of Life issue 2 is going to be on Kickstarter. We'll be fulfilling issue 1 while this is live, just because of the paper shortage. So the book has been done for a while, but we had to wait at the printer for a little while. So you are going to get issue 1 literally. It's a week before we're going to be getting it, so we're going to be fulfilling as it goes live. So yeah, we're really excited for it. It's about a high school girl who falls in love with an anime character who comes to life. It's a lot of fun. It's a webtoon as well. So if you enjoy romance and action and stories about life, go check it out.
It's really good.
All right. And Amy, how can our listeners and viewers keep in touch with you?
You guys can find me on Twitter, Amy Hypnorowski. On Instagram, amy.hypnorowski. The last name is a whomper. It's got a lot of syllables, so just do amy.hyp and it will pop up. If you see a picture of a girl with a dog, that's me.
All right, sounds good. And so from henceforth, we'll be doing Supergirl Radio business. So Amy, Kat, if you need to leave, you can feel free to duck out. But if you want to stay on and hang out with us, you're feel free to do that as well.
I do got to take off because my doggo is like, I need to go outside.
And my allergies are saying you're dying. So but we hope you have a good end of Supergirl Radio.
All right, well, sounds
like,
good.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll have another game night sometime soon. But now we need to get to some Supergirl Radio and some DC TV plugs. If you would like to contact Supergirl Radio, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can call us at 678-718-7252. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Podchaser, and Spotify, where we also have a Spotify playlist that includes music featured on and inspired by the CW's Supergirl TV series. We are listed on DC's fan page, which you can find at dccomics.com/DC-fans. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you enjoy our Supergirl Radio live streams, make sure to subscribe to the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live and wired. DC TV Podcast also has a TeePublic store, so if you're in need of new DC TV related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, onesies, mugs, notebooks, pillows, or stickers, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
Supergirl Radio is part of the DC TV Podcast Network, so if you also like The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, Titans, Doom Patrol, Batwoman, Stargirl, Superman and Lois, and the upcoming Green Lantern, Justice League Dark, and Strange Adventure shows, and DC TV After Dark, you can subscribe to the DC TV Podcast Mega Feed on Apple Podcasts. Follow at DC TV Podcasts on Twitter, and like DC TV Podcasts on Facebook, or else. This has been a message from Hope, inhabiting the Flash vessel, also known as New Rachel.
Even though I was arguing on behalf of Evil Gideon, I was kind of pulling for Hope.
I know,
in the
me
bracket.
too. I was like, Hope, my girl. That was a heartbreaker to see her lose. And since we met up for another game night this week, we have some brand new and Supergirl Radio exclusive game night designs.
Yeah, so if you want to get something for the next Supergirl Radio game night, you can get them in gray, game night official gray, if you want to, and match Lena Luthor's famous and noteworthy gray sweater. You can do that, but they also come in different colors if you want to get a different color as well. We've got t-shirts and mugs, and I think some stickers. So if you want to check those out, and I think because Team Mermaid did end up winning the bracket, I think it's only fair that maybe Team Mermaid should get some game night stuff.
Ooh.
So maybe I'll have to reach out to Team Mermaid and get your choices for whatever you want from the Supergirl Radio game night line of designs. The collection. So definitely go check those out if you're interested in some of our exclusive podcast game night designs. And we would also like to thank our legion of super sponsors. These people are Michael, Sam, Anne Marie, Yvonne, Quinn, Nicola, Leslie, Abby, Ermgard, Miriam, Nicole, Lizeth, Faith, Brian, and Ethan. If you would like to become a Supergirl Radio Patreon supporter, you can go to patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. We have 4 monthly levels, and these help us do the things that we do on Supergirl Radio and help do things like, reward, I guess, winners of game nights. So we'll probably do things like that in the future as well. So definitely consider becoming a Patreon supporter. We know we need to get to our quarterly review. So if you are a supporter, we're bringing you something. So sit tight, Ace reporters. I guess if you want to keep up with me, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. I'm on the social media platform Vero at Derby Kid. I share a lot of the things I'm watching, that I'm listening to, that I'm reading sometimes. I'm almost finished with season 4 of The Crown. And I don't know what I'm going to do with myself after that's over. Hopefully season 5 comes sooner than later, because it's been awesome. You can also check me out on Instagram at The Derby Kid. I'm also on YouTube. I have a personal YouTube channel there, youtube.com/DuckMilkProd. I do some Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, I guess you could say film analysis. I go through some top critics of Rotten Tomatoes reviews to see what they say. And usually they're not very intelligent or well written, unfortunately. But I still go through them and try to mine what is something beneficial that we can all take from that in terms of art criticism. So there is that. I also think I might do a little video on two-time Oscar winner Zack Snyder. So I will probably talk about that event that happened this year's Academy Awards. So that will probably also be something to look forward to on youtube.com/DougMilkProd.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Mojotastic. You can also find me on the Legends Tomorrow podcast, which we just talked about very extensively, but we are having our fan feedback episode this, I think we are recording it this Thursday. So if you would like your fan feedback to be read on that episode, send it into the Legends Podcast at gmail.com. I am also a co-host on DC TV After Dark, where we just this month released an episode for the first time in kind of a while. So the best way to find out when we're releasing a new one is just to subscribe to that, because our schedule is kind of just, when the whim comes upon us, when when there's like a just sort of a feeling in the air, you'll just like feel it and you'll be like, I think it's coming. It's DC TV After Dark, another episode, and you'll be right. And that's when we'll do it again. And then also I should mention that I stopped by the Gay Gals Watch podcast to talk about season 7 of Legends of Tomorrow, and also the trash TV that we've been watching, like Love is Blind, all the different various chapters of Love is Blind.
I love Love is. Is there more? Is there more Love is Blind?
Have you not seen Love is Blind Japan?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's great. They spend a lot more time in the pods.
Oh no.
Like 8 couples come out of Love is Blind Japan. It's like too many. But don't worry, as is always the case, like not very few of them make it. But it is a quality television show. My next on my docket is Love is Blind. I think it's Brazil.
Oh, I didn't know there was a whole like global.
They are international now. So I'm a big fan of the whole franchise, really. So we talked on Gay Gals Watch for so long that it was like not a reasonable podcast episode anymore that anybody would ever listen to in one sitting. And so I think it's been broken up now into the first part, which is about legends and is fairly normal. And then the second part, which is about like, oh my God. And then we saw on Reddit and then we saw on Deep T's Instagram that. So if you also love trash TV or legends, you should check out those podcast episodes.
Oh, I'm so excited to A, listen to the episode, and then B, to dig back into the Love is Blind like mythology, really.
The cinematic universe of Love is Blind.
I was not aware that there is more. So Morgan did get me hooked on that, and so now I'm gonna have to really get
quality
in there.
show. I was like,
I need to get you hooked on The Crown, though.
I'm gonna have to try again. I watched the first season; it was great. There were a couple episodes at the beginning of season 2 that were a little slower, and I think that's when we dipped off. But like as soon as I'm done Bridgerton, I'm putting that back in the rotation.
I think The Crown fills my need for like soap operas because I haven't been watching The Young and the Restless lately, and so I think the Crown is like historical, but yet mostly a soap opera, and
it's just a lot of drama.
I'm kind of into it. Also, it's just really well made. So
it is.
I think that if you like good quality TV, I think you should give it another shot.
Great performances in there too.
Absolutely,
like the cast is amazing in that show.
So good, so good. All right. Well, is there anything else we need to cover? I
don't think so.
That's it. So I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon. And thanks for helping us decide the champion of our March Madness tournament.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira.
I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because of her outfit.
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!